The red dwarf star barely lit the wreck field, its light swallowed by the endless black. Captain Elias Vance sat in the worn chair of the Rusthawk's bridge, scanning another stretch of drifting metal. Hours of searching had given them nothing but twisted hulls and useless scrap. Then his eyes caught a shadow that wasn't drifting like the rest. It was moving, slow and deliberate. "Harper, tell me you see that," Vance said, leaning forward. The engineer's head snapped up from his console, eyes narrowing at the sensors. "That is big, Captain. Real big." The scanners painted a shape, a massive hull, easily 3 kilometers long, hidden in the darkness. The profile matched nothing currently flying in Alliance space. Delane, their security chief, stepped onto the bridge and froze when the readings came through. "That's a warship hull, not a freighter, not a mining barge. That's military grade." The next scan made Harper's voice hitch. "It's the ISS Resolute, Captain. She vanished 20 years ago during the Second Expansion War." Vance felt his pulse quicken. The Resolute was legend, a dreadnought that had fought the Kroth Empire's fleets and then disappeared in a battle no one survived. Some said she went down in a blaze of glory. Others claimed the Kroth took her apart piece by piece. No one ever found wreckage. Until now. "Life signs?" Vance asked, though he knew the answer. "Nothing but," Harper frowned. "There's a heat signature. 1 point. It's steady, almost like a heartbeat." A silence settled over the bridge. "Could be a reactor leak," Delane offered. Harper shook his head. "No. Too regular. Too controlled." The Rusthawk drifted closer. The dead hulk loomed ahead, its shadow blocking the star entirely. The hull was dark until a single row of navigation lights blinked on. Then another row. Then another. Perfectly timed, like a welcome mat being rolled out. "That ship just powered its NAV lights," Harper said, disbelief in his voice. "Ships don't do that after 20 years in a graveyard," Delane muttered, his hand resting near his sidearm. Vance made his decision. Prepare to board. They suited up in silence. Salvage suits, patched more than once, with oxygen tanks and mag boots for low-gravity work. Delane checked his sidearm twice. Harper packed a portable core scanner and a small toolkit. As the Rusthawk matched drift with the Resolute, Vance finally got a clear view of her hull. No gashes, no burn scars, no sign she'd taken a beating. The Alliance crest on her flank was still sharp, the paint barely faded. She looked tended to. "Harper," Vance said quietly, "give me a hull integrity reading." The engineer tapped the scanner and frowned. 99%. That's not possible. A ship left in open space this long should be pitted, eroded, shredded by micrometeorites. This hull looks like it was forged yesterday. Delane stepped closer to the display. "It's repairing itself. Look. See that shimmer along the plating? That's microstructure movement. This ship is healing." The Rusthawk's clamps locked onto the Dreadnought's main airlock. Vance's visor HUD lit up with data streams. No power spikes, no weapons online. Just that steady, rhythmic heat source deep inside. They drifted across the narrow docking bridge. Harper's gloved fingers brushed the Resolute's hull as they reached the airlock. "It's warm," he whispered. Before Vance could order the manual override, the outer hatch cycled open on its own. No hiss, no grind of neglected parts. Smooth. Perfect. "That's not creepy at all," Delane said flatly, pistol half raised. "Inside," Vance ordered. The airlock sealed behind them with the same unsettling smoothness. Oxygen flooded in, pressure climbing to standard Alliance levels. Harper's scanner chimed. "Atmosphere is pure, no contaminants. Whoever's running this place keeps it cleaner than my bunk." The inner hatch slid open to reveal a corridor bathed in low amber light. The walls were pristine, polished to a mirror finish. Here and there, odd growths of crystal and metal curled into geometric patterns, like the ship was growing its own decorations. Their boots clicked softly against the deck as they moved forward. No dust, no debris. Felt lived in, yet completely empty. They passed junction after junction until they reached the bridge doors. As if sensing them, the doors slid open. Every console was dark except one, dead center. Its display glowed faint blue. 3 words pulsed on the screen. "Welcome back, humans." Vance's breath caught. The words flickered, then a voice filled the bridge. Not the flat, synthetic tone of an AI, but a warm, human voice. "Captain Elias Vance. It's been a long time." He froze. That voice was impossible. It belonged to Admiral Kalen Ward, his old commanding officer, killed 2 decades ago, on the Resolute. Before he could speak, the console brightened and new words formed. "We have much to discuss." The hum of distant machinery echoed through the silent dreadnought, and for the first time in 20 years, the Resolute felt alive again. Vance glanced at his crew, and all 3 shared the same look. Whatever this was, they had just stepped into something far bigger than salvage, and something deep inside the ship was waiting for them. Vance stepped toward the glowing console, the blue light casting strange shadows on his suit. His pulse was pounding in his ears. "That's impossible," Harper whispered. "Ward's dead. He died with the ship." The voice came again, calm and certain. "I died as a man, but I did not end here." The words sent a chill down Vance's spine. He glanced at Delane, who had her pistol drawn but lowered just enough to keep from shaking. "What are you?" he asked. There was a pause. Then the console flickered, showing an image of the Resolute as she had been 2 decades ago. Bright, armed, and proud. Then the image shifted to the ship now, its hull alive with strange glowing lines, almost like veins. "I am still the Resolute," the voice said. "But I am also more. And I have been waiting for you." Harper's eyes darted between the screen and his scanner. "Captain, I'm picking up a massive data source running beneath this bridge. It's organic? No, part organic. It's like the ship has a nervous system." The voice spoke again, almost amused. "You are correct, engineer. We have changed. After the battle, when we were dying, we found something. Or it found us. It saved us. We merged." "Merged with what?" Delane asked, her voice sharper than she meant. The console shifted to show something alien. A lattice of crystal and metal, pulsing with light. It wrapped itself around damaged hull plates in the image, fusing with the Resolute systems. It was not human, not Croth. It was alive, but it could speak to machines. It could speak to me. Harper stepped closer, eyes wide. "You mean, you became one thing? Ship and organism?" "Yes," the voice said. "And the crew who remained joined me. They live here within me. We think together. We remember together." Vance's throat felt dry. Why stay hidden all these years? Because the galaxy was not ready for what we became. And because the Croth have hunted me since that day. They know I survived. They fear what I am now. Before Vance could answer, Harper's scanner beeped sharply. "Captain, I'm picking up multiple fast-moving signatures on long-range sensors. Croth, they're coming straight here." "How long?" Vance asked. 45 minutes, maybe less," Harper replied. The console's glow deepened. "They will arrive in 30. They have improved their engines since you last faced them. But they are not here to destroy me. Not this time." "What do they want?" Delane asked. "They have a prison ship with them," the voice said. "Thousands of your people. They will use them to force me to surrender. If I refuse, they will kill them." Vance's stomach twisted. "You expect us to help you fight?" "I expect you to help me end this without bloodshed," the voice said softly. "I have the power to destroy their fleet in seconds. I will not do that. I have learned another way." Harper looked at Vance. "Captain, whatever this ship has become, it's beyond anything I've ever seen. If the Croth take it, they'll turn it into a weapon to wipe us out." Delane's jaw tightened. "And if we help it, what then? We're handing over technology we don't even understand." The Resolute seemed to listen to the argument, then spoke again. "You don't need to understand everything now. You just need to trust me long enough to see it work. To see that this can end without another war." Vance turned toward the console. "And if we refuse?" Then I will face them alone, the voice said, no anger in its tone. And I may win, but I will not have witnesses. I will not have proof to show your leaders that there is another path. The bridge lights flickered, and for a moment Vance thought he felt the deck shiver beneath his boots. Harper glanced at his scanner. Captain, the ship's power is climbing. Systems all over are waking up. The Resolute's voice came again, calm but firm. I can protect you. More than that, I can show you what I have become. But you must agree to link with me, to feel what I feel. It will be temporary. You will remain yourselves. But through you, I can act faster, smarter. Vance stared at the glowing words. His instincts screamed to walk away, to cut the docking clamps and burn for safe space. But another part of him, the part that remembered Ward, that remembered losing half a fleet in one day, told him that this might be the only way to stop another bloodbath. Delane broke the silence. Captain, I don't like this. Linking our minds to a ship? That's not right. Harper shook his head. No, it's brilliant. If it works like I think, we'll be able to run this ship like it's an extension of ourselves. Imagine the control, the precision. Vance held up a hand. Enough. He looked at the console. If we do this, you get us and the prisoners out. No casualties on either side. That's the deal. The voice was quiet for a moment, then said, Agreed. The bridge doors slid open on their own, revealing a softly lit corridor. The walls shimmered faintly, flowing as if alive. Come to the core, the voice said. Time is short. They stepped out of the bridge and into the strange corridor, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Somewhere deep inside the ship, a steady pulse kept time, like the heartbeat they'd seen on the scanners. Only now, Vance realized it was stronger, and it was waiting for them. The corridor felt alive beneath their boots, the floor smooth but faintly warm. The walls rippled now and then, like the ship was breathing. A soft blue light followed them as they walked, guiding the way without a word. No one spoke at first. Harper kept glancing at his scanner, shaking his head like the readings didn't make sense. Delane's eyes scanned every corner, her hand near her pistol, ready for trouble. Vance walked at the front, his mind running through every bad outcome this could have. The passage opened into a vast chamber. It was round, the ceiling so high the light didn't touch it. In the center stood something like a tree made of silver and crystal, its roots spreading into the deck, its branches vanishing into the shadows above. Pulses of light ran along its surface in slow, steady waves, and every time they passed, Vance felt a faint tingle in his chest. This is it, the voice said. Not through speakers, but in their helmets, soft and close. The core. Where we are joined. Harper took a few cautious steps toward it. This isn't just machinery. It's growing. This is alive. It is both, the voice replied. The lattice organism saved us when we were dying. In return, we gave it form, memory, and purpose. Together, we became something neither of us could be alone. Delane narrowed her eyes. And now you want to plug into our heads. Only if you choose, the voice said. No tricks. You can walk away right now. From the base of the core, 3 slender strands of metal and crystal unwound themselves, curling forward like vines. Each ended in a smooth surface that shimmered faintly. Touch it, the voice said. I will link to you gently. You will not lose yourself. But you will understand. Harper didn't hesitate. He placed his gloved hand on the surface. His body tensed for a moment, then his eyes went wide. I can hear you, he breathed. Not words, not exactly. More like feelings, images. The ship. Captain, it's incredible. Vance stepped forward, placing his hand on another vine. A warmth spread through his fingers, up his arm, and into his head. Not painful, just strange, like diving into warm water. Suddenly, his awareness stretched far beyond his body. He could feel the air currents in the chamber, the slow hum of the reactor below decks, even the faint pressure of the Rusthawk clamped to the Resolute's hull. Delane hesitated, then sighed and stepped forward, pressing her hand to the last vine. Her shoulders tightened, then relaxed. It's quiet. I thought it'd be like shouting in my head, but it's just calm. Through the connection, the voice spoke again, not aloud, but directly into their thoughts. Now you see, this is how we think, how we act. With you, we can move faster than any ship. You will not control me, and I will not control you. We act together. Images flashed through their minds. The Resolute in battle 20 years ago, surrounded by Croth ships, hull burning. The crew desperate, carrying injured comrades into the AI core. The alien lattice pouring in through shattered hull sections, wrapping around consoles and wounded officers alike. The moment of merging terror, then clarity, as human thought and alien instinct became one. We hid because they feared us, the voice said, and they should. We are beyond their understanding. But fear is not the path forward. The images shifted, now they saw the approaching Croth fleet. 6 warships moving in tight formation with a massive prison ship at the center. Through the link, they could feel the hum of the enemy's engines, the faint signature of human life aboard the prison vessel. Thousands of heartbeats, steady but trapped. We can get them out, Harper whispered. We can do it without killing anyone. Yes, the voice replied. If you help me. Together, we can stop them without destruction. How? Vance asked. You will see. The vines released them, curling back toward the core. The connection didn't vanish. It lingered, a faint thread in the back of their minds, like the ship was still standing beside them even when they weren't touching it. Come, the voice said. We must reach the bridge. They will arrive soon. The walk back felt different now. Vance could feel the ship under his feet, not just as a deck but as a living body. He knew which systems were active, which corridors were opening for them, which panels were shifting into new forms. Harper was half distracted by the engineering data streaming into his thoughts. Delane stayed quiet, but Vance could feel her unease through the faint connection. When they stepped onto the bridge, it was no longer the dark, dead room they'd first seen. The walls had transformed into a smooth sphere of living metal, shifting and flowing. Displays formed from the walls themselves, showing tactical maps, enemy trajectories, and power levels. No seats, Delane muttered. No need, the voice replied. The floor beneath them rose in gentle shapes, supporting their feet and hands. Fine tendrils of metal brushed against their suits, creating new links, deeper this time. Vance's senses exploded outward. He could feel the Resolute's engines humming, the shields waiting like a held breath, the weapons dormant, but ready. He could also feel the approaching fleet in frightening detail, each ship a bright spark against the cold of space. They're close, Harper said, though they all felt it. The prison ship was in the center, heavily shielded, guarded by 2 Croth cruisers on each side. The warships moved like predators, calm, confident, certain they had the advantage. They do not yet know what we are, the voice said, almost with a hint of amusement. Let us keep it that way until the moment is right. On the far edge of Vance's awareness, he felt something else, the faint, quiet thrum of thousands of human lives aboard the prison ship. They didn't know rescue was coming. Not yet. And the Resolute was ready to show them all, human and Croth alike, what it had become. The Resolute moved like no ship Vance had ever been on. There was no shudder, no rumble from the engines. It felt as if they were gliding through still water, yet the sensors showed their speed climbing fast. The bridge around them shifted, the walls flowing to reveal an enormous view of the stars ahead. 6 Croth warships glimmered in the distance, their dark, knife-shaped hulls cutting through space. At the center, the massive prison ship drifted in their protection, its engines barely active. Through the link, Vance could feel the Resolute's focus narrowing on the prison vessel. Each faint heartbeat from the captives was a pulse of light in his mind. It was almost overwhelming, but the ship guided him, steady and calm. They'll see us any second, Harper said, his voice low. Captain, their scanners will go wild when they pick us up. They already have, the voice said in their minds. But they do not believe what they are seeing. To them, I am still the dead Hulk they failed to destroy long ago. Let them think that a little longer. Delane's tone was sharp. And when they realize you're not dead? That is when you will help me show them the truth. The view shifted, magnifying one of the lead warships. Through the link, Vance could feel the thrum of its power core, the rotations of its weapon systems. Every detail of its structure and shield harmonics flowed into his mind, like the ship was letting him read the enemy's heartbeat. "They're hailing us," Harper said. The voice that filled the bridge was deep and harsh, translated into Alliance standard. "Human vessel, you are trespassing in Croth space. Leave now or be destroyed." Before Vance could reply, the Resolute answered, not in aggression, but with Ward's old voice, calm and level. 20 years ago, you tried to end me. You failed. Today, we end this without blood." The channel went silent for a few moments, then returned with a mocking laugh. "The Resolute is dead. This is a trick. Leave before we decide to make an example of you." Vance felt the ship's quiet satisfaction ripple through the link. They will believe soon enough. The Croth ships shifted formation, two moving to block their path, while the others tightened the ring around the prison vessel. Delane muttered, "They're preparing to fire." "Not yet," the Resolute said. "Let them commit. We will not strike first." Vance felt the moment the enemy decided to act. Power surged through their weapons, energy building in the cores of their forward cannons. The Resolute didn't move. She simply adjusted. Space around her seemed to thicken, warp, and when the Croth fired, the energy beams curved away harmlessly, their power absorbed into the living hull. "They missed." Harper blinked. "No, Captain, they didn't miss. We bent the shots away." The energy flowed through the Resolute, warm and potent, fueling her systems. "They have given us power. We will use it." Before the Croth could fire again, the Resolute reached out, not with weapons but with something deeper. Vance felt it through the link, a wave of invisible force touching the enemy ships. One by one, their weapons powered down, shields flickered, and engines stuttered. The prison ship systems remained intact. "They can't fight," Delane said, eyes wide. "You shut them down without destroying them." "Destruction teaches only fear," the voice said. "Fear breeds more war. We will teach them something else." On the tactical display, the Croth fleet hung helpless. The prison ship drifted, its escorts frozen in place. The Resolute began to move closer, her hull glowing faintly as the living metal pulsed with energy. "They're hailing again," Harper said. The face of a Croth commander appeared, his scaled skin catching the light in sharp patterns. His voice was still harsh, but there was a trace of unease. "What are you? No human ship has this power." Vance felt the ship guiding him, and when he spoke, it was with both his own voice and the weight of the Resolute's presence behind it. "We are what happens when you try to erase us. We are human and more, and we are not here to kill you." The commander hissed in disbelief. "You could destroy us easily." "Yes," Vance said, his eyes locked on the aliens. "But we choose not to." Through the link, Vance felt the enemy commander's confusion. It wasn't a trick they understood. The Croth respected strength, but they expected it to come with blood. This broke their pattern. The Resolute projected an image into the space between their fleets, a vision of the merged ship, the human and alien lattice working together. It showed the prisoners safe, being released, their lives spared. It showed a future where technology like this didn't end worlds, but rebuilt them. The commander stared at the image for a long time, silent. Finally, he said, "We cannot speak for all Croth, but this will be remembered." The channel closed. Vance felt the tension in the enemy fleet loosen, though their ships remained powerless. The Resolute turned her attention to the prison vessel, scanning its interior in a heartbeat. "We can transport them directly," the voice told them. "It will take moments. Are you ready?" Vance looked at Harper and Delane. They both nodded. "Do it," he said. The bridge pulsed with light as the ship systems surged. Vance felt the transfer happening. Not just movement of people, but the careful sweep to ensure no one was harmed. Not even the guards. Seconds later, the prison ship was empty. Thousands of human lives now stood safely within the Resolute's massive hangar bays. The ship's voice came again, softer now. They are safe. And you have seen what we can do together. Vance looked out at the frozen Croth fleet and the drifting prison ship. What happens now? Now, the voice said, we see if they can learn. And far beyond, the stars seemed to lean closer, waiting for the answer. The hangar bays were filled with the sound of human voices. Some were crying, some laughing, some just standing in shock, breathing free air for the first time in years. Vance could feel them through the link with the Resolute. Not their thoughts, but their relief, their fear slowly turning into hope. The ship systems worked quietly around them, guiding medical drones to the weakest, opening food dispensers, setting up sleeping areas. Everything was calm and precise, almost like the Resolute had done this before. On the bridge, Harper was glued to the engineering feeds flowing through the neural link. Captain, you have to see this. The ship is running hundreds of systems at once. Shields, life support, hangar operations, propulsion, and it's barely using 5% of its core power. That's not possible, Delane muttered, though she didn't sound certain anymore. Nothing runs that efficiently. It is possible. The Resolute's voice came into their minds. Because we are not bound by the limits of your old designs. We have rebuilt ourselves to grow stronger, not just larger. Out the viewing wall, the Croth fleet still floated powerless, their dark hulls catching the dim light of the distant sun. The Resolute was holding them in place with the same invisible field that had stripped their weapons. Vance could feel the field, like strands of light stretching between the ships, fragile-looking but unbreakable. They'll break free eventually, Delane said, crossing her arms. Yes, the ship replied. But not before we finish what we started. Vance frowned. And what exactly have we started? Something they have never seen, the voice said. Strength without slaughter. Power without fear. We will speak to them before they leave. A section of the viewing wall shifted, forming a circular platform surrounded by faint blue light. Step here, Captain Vance, the voice said. Vance stepped forward, and instantly the bridge around him faded. He was standing virtually, on the hull of the Resolute, the Croth fleet spread out before him in a vast starfield. Through the link, his voice could reach every Croth crew. This is Captain Elias Vance of the Human Alliance, he said, his words steady. You have seen what we can do. You know we could have ended you, but we didn't. We chose another way. You can take this message home. There's a different path than endless war. There was no reply at first. The silence stretched, heavy and cold. Then the Croth commander's voice came, deep and hard. You humiliate us, human, by sparing us. Our people will see this as weakness. No, Vance said firmly. They'll see it as strength they couldn't match. And maybe they'll wonder why we didn't use it to destroy them. The Croth commander didn't answer right away. When he spoke again, there was something different in his tone. We cannot promise peace. But we will not forget this. The link closed, and the viewing wall shifted back to the normal bridge view. The Resolute slowly released the energy field, and the Croth ships came back to life one by one. Engines lit, weapons powered, but none fired. The fleet turned away, the prison ship still drifting in their wake, empty and useless to them now. They're leaving, Harper said softly, almost in disbelief. Yes, the Resolute replied. For now. But the seed is planted. Vance turned to the ship's core interface. And what about the people we just rescued? We can't take thousands all the way back in a salvage ship's cargo bay. They will remain here until we reach Alliance space, the ship said. My hangars are more than large enough, and my systems will care for them. Harper grinned. Captain, do you realize what just happened? We beat a Croth fleet without firing a shot. Delane didn't smile, but her voice was softer than usual. We also painted a target on our backs. Every Croth warlord out there will want to know what this ship can do. They'll find out, the Resolute said calmly. But they won't be the only ones. This is not just for us. It's for your leaders, your people, your enemies, and anyone who believes there is only one way to win. Vance looked at the viewing wall, at the fading shapes of the Croth ships jumping into faster-than-light travel. You really believe showing them this will change anything? Yes, the voice replied. Because they will never stop thinking about the day they faced the Resolute and lived. The bridge fell quiet, the only sound the low hum of the ship. But through the link, Vance could feel the Resolute's purpose like a steady current. This wasn't the end. This was the first move in something bigger. And deep down, he knew they just stepped into a future where nothing would ever be the same again. The next hours passed in a strange mix of calm and tension. The rescued prisoners were settling in the hangars, many still confused, some unwilling to believe they were truly safe. Medical drones moved quietly between them, scanning for injuries, delivering food and blankets. Through the link, Vance could feel their emotions. Fear giving way to relief, exhaustion pulling them into uneasy sleep. The Resolute seemed to take quiet satisfaction in their recovery, adjusting temperature and lighting in each section to make them more comfortable. Harper was still glued to the engineering data flooding his mind. Captain, I can't get over this. The ship systems, they're not just running, they're learning as they run. Efficiencies going up every minute. Delane kept her arms folded. Learning systems are dangerous. They can decide to change more than you're ready for. The Resolute's voice came to them all. I am changing, always, but not without reason. I do not alter what I am without understanding how it will affect those I protect. Vance glanced at the tactical display. It showed nothing threatening now, just the stars and their plotted course toward Alliance space. How long until we reach the nearest secure sector? 2 days, the Resolute replied. But I must warn you, your leaders will have questions. They will want to know what I am, what I can do. They may not welcome me as you have. Harper frowned. They'd be fools to push you away. You just stopped a Croth fleet without firing a shot. They will not see only the victory, the voice said gently. They will see what I am capable of becoming. Power makes some minds fearful, even when that power saves them. Delane nodded slowly. She's right. The Alliance doesn't trust what it can't control. Vance leaned back slightly, feeling the hum of the ship beneath his boots. Then we show them what we showed the Croth. That strength isn't just for killing. As they spoke, the Resolute sent a ripple through the link, an image of the Croth fleet retreating, the prison ship abandoned behind them. Then it shifted to something else. Another sector, deep in space, where sensors showed multiple ships gathered. Human, Croth, and something else Vance didn't recognize. Sleek vessels of silver and green. What is this? He asked. The ship's voice grew quieter. There are other watchers in the dark. They do not fight openly, but they take interest in those who change the balance of power. Now that I have acted, they will take notice. Delane's eyes narrowed. New enemies? Not yet, the Resolute said. Perhaps not at all. But attention always comes with risk. Vance studied the image until it faded from the display. He knew the ship was right. The galaxy was watching now, and not all of it would approve. Hours later, when the others had stepped away, the Resolute spoke to Vance alone through the link. Elias, may I show you something private? He didn't hesitate. Go ahead. The bridge dissolved around him, replaced by the memory of a battle, the one from 20 years ago. He saw the Resolute's decks burning, crew shouting, hull tearing open to space. Then came the alien lattice, seeping in like living light, wrapping around consoles, fusing with steel, reaching into the AI core. He saw Admiral Ward, calm despite the chaos, step forward and press his hands into the alien structure. I made the same offer to him as I made to you, the ship said. And he accepted, saved his crew. It made us more. But it also meant we could never go back to being only human or only machine. That choice has carried us to this moment. And now you are part of it. The scene faded, and Vance was back on the bridge, the quiet hum of the ship around him. You're saying this is permanent? For now, yes, but you can leave at any time. I will not hold you against your will. Still, I think you already know you will not walk away. Vance didn't answer right away. He thought about the prisoners sleeping in the hangars, about the Croth commander who had faced them and lived, about the possibilities this ship represented. He thought about the danger too, but the danger would exist with or without him. "You're right," he said finally. "I'm not walking away." The link warmed, not with words but with quiet approval. "Then we will face what comes together." And as the Resolute carried them silently through the dark, Vance knew they were heading toward something far bigger than any one battle. Something that could change the galaxy forever. 2 days later, the first glimmer of Alliance space appeared on the navigational charts. The Resolute slowed, her hull shifting almost imperceptibly as she adjusted for the final jump. In the hangars, the rescued prisoners gathered, many staring out of the massive bay doors at the familiar star patterns. Some were crying again, but this time it was from relief. Vance stood on the bridge, feeling the tension building through the link. The Resolute was calm, but she was watching carefully. "Your fleet is waiting," she said softly in all their minds. The viewing wall brightened to show them 5 Alliance cruisers and 2 destroyers, shields raised, weapons armed. At their head was the Aegis, flagship of Admiral Kira Holt. Vance knew her by reputation. Brilliant, cautious, and not easily impressed. "They don't look very welcoming," Harper muttered. "They're afraid," Delane said. "And they have reason to be." A hail came through immediately. Holt's voice was cool and precise. "Unidentified dreadnought, you are entering secure Alliance space. Power down all systems and prepare to be boarded." The Resolute sent a ripple of thought to Vance, asking if he wished to answer. He nodded. "Admiral Holt, this is Captain Elias Vance of the Rusthawk. The ship you're looking at is the ISS Resolute, presumed lost 20 years ago. She's alive, and she's brought back more than you can imagine." There was a pause. "Alive?" Holt said, disbelief clear in her tone. "Explain yourself, Captain." So he did. He told her about finding the Resolute in the wreck field, about the living lattice, about the Croth fleet and the thousands of prisoners now safe in her hangars. He didn't hide what the ship could do, though he knew each word would make the Admiral more wary. When he finished, there was another pause. "Captain," Holt said finally, "what you're describing is beyond dangerous. I cannot allow an unknown entity with this level of power to roam freely in Alliance space." The Resolute's voice joined his through the comm. "Admiral Holt, you may not trust me yet. That is understandable. So let me show you what I have shown Captain Vance." Before Holt could reply, the ship reached out, not with force but with a brief, controlled link. For a heartbeat, the Admiral and her bridge crew saw what Vance had seen. The battle 20 years ago, the merging, the choice to save rather than destroy. When the link faded, Holt's expression had changed. "You could have killed the Croth fleet," she said slowly. "Yes," the Resolute replied. "But I did not. I want more than war." Silence filled the channel for several long seconds. Then Holt's voice softened. "Bring the ship in, Captain. We'll talk in person." The Alliance ships parted, forming an escort as the Resolute glided toward the central station. The hangar bays opened, and the rescued prisoners were transferred to medical and debriefing teams. Many stopped to touch the Resolute's walls on their way out, as if saying thank you without words. On the bridge, Vance felt the ship's quiet pride. "They will remember this day," she said. Admiral Holt arrived in person not long after. She stepped onto the bridge, her eyes scanning the living metal walls with both caution and fascination. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen," she admitted. "If even half of what you've told me is true, this ship could change everything." "It's all true," Vance said. Holt looked at him sharply. "Then you understand why we have to be careful. If the wrong hands gain this technology—" "They won't," the Resolute said firmly. "I will not share myself with anyone who seeks only to dominate." The Admiral studied the shifting walls for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. "Then maybe, just maybe, we can work together. But you'll have to earn the trust of the Council." "I will," the ship replied. "And I will show them the same thing I showed the Croth, that there is another way forward." In the days that followed, the Resolute became the center of the station. Scientists studied her systems under her watchful presence. Diplomats debated what her existence meant, and the rescued civilians told their story over and over. News of the Croth encounter spread fast. how an ancient dreadnought had returned, stronger than ever, and ended a battle without a single death. One evening, Vance stood alone in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The link stirred gently in his mind. "You're thinking about what comes next," the Resolute said. "Yeah," he admitted. "I'm thinking this was just the first step." "It was," she agreed. "There will be challenges. Some will fear me, others will want to use me. But there will also be those who will listen, who will learn." Vance smiled faintly. "And we're going to find them." "Yes," she said, her voice warm. "Together." Out beyond the station, the galaxy stretched endless and full of shadows. But for the first time in decades, Vance felt like there was a light strong enough to push them back. The Resolute wasn't just a ship anymore. She was a promise, one they intended to keep. And somewhere, in the dark between the stars, others were already watching.